Hey everybody, my name's Grant Key. I'm the lead protocol engineer for Telcoin Network. I'll show you our digital cash demo. We've deployed several digital cash options on testnet. This is a Diri testnet. We have selected our e-Mexican peso, and you can see from a list of options, we've got a wallet with several balances, but today we're going to swap for Canadian dollars. Set an amount, we'll do 2,000, and we can see the price impact. The minimum amount received. We set our parameters for the swap, and now we're ready to sign. For the demo on desktop, we're using MetaMask. It's an open source EVM wallet. Telcoin Network is fully compatible with all the EVM products on the market. And once we've signed our transaction, it's now with the network. The nodes are reaching consensus, they're validating it. They're exchanging that information to make sure it's a legitimate transaction. And once that's reached on testnet, it's about 5 seconds. We should be able to see the information in the block explorer. So here we can see our status was successful. The block that the transaction was included in, 100,593. And we signed our transaction just 22 seconds ago. The power of Telcoin Network with the instant finality, every time a block is produced, the settlement is cleared, that transaction is permanent. And for very low transaction fees and very fast block times. Here you can have a look at our block explorer where we see blocks being produced in real time. This has a lot of information for us, including the token price, the latest block number, and the most recent transactions on the network. And there you have it. It's as easy as that. Users can swap stable tokens now on our Telcoin wallet found on iOS and Android. Information for us, including the token price, the latest block number, and the most recent transactions on the network. And there you have it. It's as easy as that. Users can
Hi, my name is Devi Siregar, and I am the CEO of Telin Malaysia, a Telkom Indonesia group company. Today, I am pleased to announce that Telin Malaysia has entered into a partnership with Telcoin that will soon allow anyone in Malaysia to send low-cost, high-speed international remittances to Indonesia and beyond. Under the partnership, anyone in Malaysia will be able to cash in via our network of more than 30,000 dealers nationwide, to remit money to friends and family in Indonesia using the Telcoin app. This means that Indonesian workers in Malaysia can save time and money with our remittance service. According to data from the World Bank, more than $2.1 billion worth of remittances were sent from Malaysia to Indonesia in 2017. And that figure is likely to grow. It costs an average of nearly 6% to send money from Malaysia to Indonesia. Telcoin is offering just 1 to 2.5%, ensuring that our users' loved ones keep more of the money that was meant for them. We look forward to offering a smarter way to send money with Telcoin.
We look at ourselves as the bridge between the traditional financial and the crypto world. So that's why we want to be the bank and issue stablecoin bank accounts directly out of your stablecoin. We all know about the breadth and scale of NWC, 100,000 attendees globally with phenomenal success. But I think it's the content and the engagement, the energy, which is vibrant, ebullient. But I think it's a melting pot of corporates, telecom, startups, especially this 4 years from now, where you have investors, startups, corporate, cutting-edge technology providers all under the same roof. That's phenomenal. We love it here.
Well, this got scheduled at the same time that IU Indy does their graduation, so I'm trying to rescue my wife right now from traffic.
Don't crash your car just for us.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, Margaret.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Looks like we've got a pretty exciting agenda here with all of the some agencies coming in, so that should be fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Hey, everybody.
What up?
Hey, Grant.
Oops. Thank you. Big time shout out for taking over the agenda, setting that up for us. Really appreciate
No
it.
props. No problem.
JB, you're outrageous mango. I was like, who am I letting up here? Outrageous mango, but okay, that's JB. Good. Welcome, JB.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to pop for the Discord Pro so I can have a name that's not Outrageous Mango, but here we are.
It's not so bad, actually. All right.
You see Squirtel and Think and Beer in the audience as well. I think we have a full attendance.
I think Adam might have been having some mic issues again.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All good.
So I think I found out what the issue was because I was having issues with my headset all this time. It seems like I was suppressed from speaking. It says you did not have permission to speak in the chat in the channel, which is odd.
So that's been the problem the whole time with your mic, is that you didn't get permissions?
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, I think so. I posted a pic in the chat.
Oh man.
But how is everyone? We all good?
Yeah, great. I think we've got a quorum and we're all ready to kick things off.
Alrighty. Get started, shall we? Awesome. So, welcome everybody to I believe it's the 14th recurring platform Treasury Council meeting. Thanks to everybody who's joined the Discord to ask some questions, and everybody that's over on X as well. We continue here to continue our journey of transparent governance and community engagement for the Telcoin ecosystem.
Hello? Can anyone hear anything?
Well, I can hear you, Parker.
Coops, how's your microphone doing, my man?
One, two, three. Testing.
There we go. I can hear that.
There we go.
Oh, I can hear it.
We're back.
Is
Run
that
it
just
back.
cut out? Is that
Nice.
just cut out for all of that?
Yeah, let's run it back turbo.
Oh my. Okay. So shall I go from the very beginning again, or?
Yeah, you were doing good. So
All right. So I'll start from. Okay, I'll start from this bit. So, just to reaffirm that the platform Treasury councils represent the global governance layer for both the Telcoin platform and association. Working in concert, these councils oversee platform-wide systems, shape association social policies, and steward the Treasury with care and foresight. The Telcoin platform government system is self-organised and determined by the four minor groups and their elected councils within the association, focusing on two primary duties, which are A, provisioning, which is planning and financing platform infrastructure construction and maintenance, providing information and delivering other collective goods essential to our ecosystem's health. And also TEL allocation, which is regulating TEL sustainably within the platform for the four minor groups to harvest based on their production according to the rules established by the respective councils. So a few commitments as council members. We embrace a few key responsibilities, which is thoughtfully reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, maintaining consistent attendance at council meetings, providing transparent, regular updates to the community, vigilantly monitoring platform systems, and upholding and enforcing our operational framework. Awesome. So before we get started, just a very quick recap on what we went through in the previous meeting. So we had a Telcoin network update, which was pretty exciting, pre-code freeze. So we're going to have another one of those very, very shortly. And then we had a couple of discussions around TIPs that are ongoing. So one around expanding council meeting coverage proposals, a TIP around a publication of a council organisation chart and updating various Telcoin Association information on coin market cap, as well as a very exciting TIP around media and marketing campaigns, where we had marketing agency come up and speak to us, and we're going to do the same in this meeting today. So a lot of exciting stuff to come. But without further ado, we will get started with the first thing, which is a Telcoin network update. So I'm going to hand over to Grant.
Thanks, Simon. Protocol team met with security researchers this morning to review findings from the smart contract audit that was concluded. We had a lot of back and forth while the audit was ongoing, and ultimately we're really happy with the feedback we received. We're working to address these findings and have it complete by May 23rd. And currently, the list is 3 high severities, 2 medium severities, and 10 lows. Ultimately, there's some back and forth on if all of those severities are accurate and things, but we're going to share the full report once it's complete. The next audit is going to start the following week, which is when the Rust code free base will freeze. And then as a final note, I just wanted to mention that we've met with some teams this past week to identify hardware for the MNOs to run both testnet and mainnet nodes. And those updated specifications can be found at the docs website, the docs.telcoin.network.
I'm just going to mention that low is usually considered informational. So it's usually like fix it if you want to.
Grant, will that also include specs for servers running in this observer mode versus an actual validator?
I haven't spec'd that out yet, but I think, I'd be happy to update the docs to that. That's a good idea. I think anything with like 8 cores and probably 16 gigs of RAM would be enough, but I'll add that. That's a good idea.
Just a note on that too, you can probably, just try anything and it'll work, or, with an observer, it's not as critical as a validator. So
Yeah,
Well, no, I
that's
know.
Grant's
I just,
probably right.
yeah, I'm. There are certain people that are maybe wanting to run observer nodes to do things.
Right.
So trying to plan.
We're not planning to have the observer not run if it doesn't see enough hardware, I guess, is that. So your mileage may vary.
Awesome stuff. Is there anything further from Steve or Marcus at all before we move on to next point?
Oh, that about covers it.
Awesome. And yeah, it's one of those where we're sort of now just waiting for other companies to do their stuff. So once that gets through, I think we're going to have a lot of exciting informations to come. So I think everybody's really looking forward to that. So awesome. So moving on to the next point, which is around liquid delegation. So we've got a few bits of liquid delegation news actually. So just around the previous liquid delegation ceremony that took place, it was a bit premature in the last meeting that Ari and Dwight had their NFTs transferred. I don't think that was the case, but as far as I'm aware, Ari and Dwight, I think that is the case now, isn't it? So I think you're all fully on board, and they'll be earning their constant stream of TEL, and they'll be able to vote on platform council snapshot proposals that come up in the future. Ari will of course be representing the stakers miner group, and Dwight will be representing the liquidity miners. So again, welcome to both, and congratulations again. We're looking forward to seeing what you do on the council. So a little bit more exciting news is that some of you may
I think I just lost you, Coops. No, I might be the only one, but
I can hear you, Parker, just not Coops.
Coops, mic check. Coops, give it a go again.
audio.
Hey, Coops, we couldn't hear you. We
Yeah,
could hear you.
it seems to be half the people can hear me and some people can't. So I really don't know.
I'd say I can hear you absolutely fine. Like you haven't even cut out once for me, which is really odd. But I'm seeing a lot of messages stating otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, so you heard the whole time. So maybe that means
I've heard everything.
Cool. Okay, that's good.
I'm just gonna leave the
me.
stage and just come back on.
I can hear you.
Awesome. All right, so it seemed like everybody got cut out on exciting news. Okay, we're all good. BZ. As long as your 400 viewers can hear what I'm saying, that's good. All right, we'll push through. Everybody spamming the chat again. If it goes wrong again, let's hope not. But yeah, as I was saying, exciting news. There is a seat that's become vacant on the Town Council as a result of Jeff stepping down for time zone considerations, basically. So anybody who is interested in a seat on the Town Council and shaping how the Town Council go about business, I've just posted a link in the chat to the Liquid Delegation application page for that. So if you head over to that link and follow the steps there, you'll be able to put in your application. I think we've got one already from BZ, so that's super exciting. So that will close next Thursday, I believe, at 3 p.m. Central, and then a 7-day voting period will commence at the same time the following day. So a bit differently for this election, because this is a developer seat and there's only one current developer on the Telcoin network, which is, of course, Telcoin themselves. They will be the one who will be casting the vote for who's successful in the election. So none of the same app delegating, anything like that. This one's a straight up vote from Telcoin for that. Excellent. Let me just see if there's any.
Quick note on that is basically, as the representative for developers, you're representing the interests and preferences of both the existing set of application developers, this miner group that we've empowered, unlike traditional blockchains where, the base layer miners for the most part have the right to harvest the native token and vote to represent their interests in governance. We have 4 different miner groups at Telcoin here, one of them being application developers. And so you're voting not only for the current application developer set, which is 2 that are in queue to join pending some GSMA things and otherwise, and then us. You're voting for the future application developers and their interests on the platform. So it's just a sort of important thing to consider who you're representing and your voting and proposal duties. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Parker. So moving on, we've got a TIP, which is around expanding council meeting coverage to live streaming on X Spaces and YouTube. So I'm sure many of you will have seen the work that BZ's been putting in. So Brosy has a TIP that's titled Expanding Council Meeting Coverage to Live Streaming on X Spaces and YouTube. I will post. Oh no, don't worry. So since the last meeting has happened, that proposal has now moved to Snapshot, and I'm happy to say, as a couple of hours ago, that has passed the vote and quorum to implement that, just pending a 3-day veto period from the Compliance Council. So I'm just going to post a link to that in the snapshot in the chat there. But yeah, Brosy, in the meantime, has been kind of live streaming the last few platform Treasury Council meetings as sort of a proof of concept in a way, basically. I think we can all agree that it's been a pretty successful proof of concept. I've seen you do the same for the TAN Council and the Telex Council meetings the last couple of days, and I know he's got sort of an average of around 150 to sort of 200 concurrent viewers, and I've seen peaks of 450, 500 people at a time, which is pretty amazing. I know in the last meeting you had about 400 followers, and you're up to about 550 now. So that's a nice 30% increase on before. So just question for Parker: what are the next steps at this time for the proposal? I know we've still got the veto vote to pass through, but.
Yeah, it's implementation. I voted for it. Has it gone through the full approval, everything, and the duration is done?
Yeah, do we want to talk about how we think we're going to go about it at all, or do we want to go for that in the next in the next meeting.
Yeah, and so go about it, meaning effectively, what account do we share this from, as the sort of, primary to do that? And to me, the answer is clearly at Telcoin Tau, at least for now, right?
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about who would do that? I mean, there's only certain people with access to the Tau account, obviously.
Sure.
And
So
yeah, it would have to be
think,
multiple people, right?
yeah. So I think that the proper approach is to have Brosi do the know your member stuff with the NDA, and then give him access to the Tau account to operate it. He's already been doing it really well. If he's open to that, otherwise we need to delegate that elsewhere to somebody else who has knows what they're doing and can be at each of these meetings from a time zone perspective. Is Brosi, are you out there? You want to come up and tell us what you have in mind here?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely qualified, Bros. And I was just looking at the stream just before this started with the running the little ads you had, and it looked super professional. So yeah, feel free to let us know your thoughts.
I just approved him to come up.
Great.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
Excellent. Really, two schools of thought. It's really comes down to, I'd be happy to do it, obviously, if that's what the councils and the community would like to do. Something that I've kind of enjoyed doing, so would be happy to do that. Also, there is the option in my proposal for a vote or an election, mini election, I guess you would say, to somebody to that position. Obviously, there are, as you had mentioned, some potentially sensitive information that can be seen. So the NDA is important also. But if that is something that is desired, I'd be happy to step up into that role.
Yeah, I think in order to step in that role, we definitely need to do the KYM stuff, which is pretty standard. One interesting note, though, is that we of course have these marketing agencies here, and socials is certainly a critical area, and so perhaps that's an area where one of them can lead the charge and discuss that today for broadcasting the proposal. Is the proposal shared in its proposal form in this messaging channel so that everybody can see it in the audience, especially the agencies? Otherwise,
Yeah,
let's add.
Cooper posted it up in the chat there, so I think the snapshot is there, but I can also post the link to it also.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that just check out that snapshot, everyone. I will reply to it. It shows the form proposal in there, so I'm afraid to click a link right now and make the Discord mic situation get messed up or something. So
We get away scot-free for the rest of the meeting. That would be good. Awesome. Great stuff, Brosi. Yeah, I know I speak for everybody else when we say how thankful we are for the job you're doing with live streaming the meetings. It doesn't go unnoticed, and some of the reach you've had so far is very impressive. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how we can develop that in the near future. So great stuff.
It's my
Awesome.
pleasure. Thank you.
No probs. Cool. So we're going to move on to a TIP around the development of a council organizational chart, which is also authored by Brosi. So then we're going to have Parker come up and talk about that.
yeah, hat in hand, everyone. At the last meeting, I basically said that I would focus on getting you the org structure done. I've written it out so many different times, and then the sort of day to day of life, I dropped the ball and it's on my list. But yeah, it's a great proposal. It makes things pretty clear, and I'm happy to create it. At the highest level, it because there's basically this what would be considered polycentric governance, where you have this complex three-layered platform with multiple different governing bodies across the layers that are elected by minor groups themselves. You can imagine that sort of org chart, it looks a little, there's a lot. And so, yeah, I basically, I think that with some time spent in my old Lucid charts, I could, which, a lot of the diagrams that you've seen have just been those. I think I can provide something that's solid, and we'll review this proposal after the meet and make sure that we have something good from the perspective of here's what I think it should look like. Then we can determine if what I've come up with is, not as intuitive as we'd like. If we want something that zooms in, like sort of zoom out and then zoom in, I think is probably the best move, where you sort of have, more than one diagram for how the organization works. I think that structure works well. So yeah, I apologize for not bringing that and getting something done, and I appreciate Rosie putting this proposal out. So I think that I should just make the diagram, and then I'll share it on the forum for people to review and tell me if I'm crazy or not, and then we can go from there. I don't know, how much time and resources it will require to update precisely what we're looking for here. But if it's just an org chart, that's not too hard. So yeah, I think I need to just review this proposal, provide a reply on the forum with the lucid diagram, and you guys tell me what you think as a starting point next. Does that work?
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know your thoughts. Another idea I had was kind of, and it's a bit more intensive than just a simple like lucid chart or org chart. Was basically sort of like a world map, sort of, where you can go into like the council members' details, and then you can filter it by what council they fall into, basically. But obviously, I think it would require a bit more front end development, stuff like that. So maybe it's not quite feasible, but I thought that might be something that looked good.
It sounds like a really solid idea. The ongoing maintenance of it is interesting. Synthetics has one that I think is pretty interesting in that way. Looked at all these governance sites, and which sort of shows the previous ones, and it's facilitated by the ENS naming system, so that it sort of automatically updates. So yeah, we could go in any number of directions here, but let's just have a starting point of making sure that we have clarity for everyone, and then do a more comprehensive one that is super cool, and you can click on it and see who's a member of what council and everything. So yeah, great proposal.
Yeah, awesome. And in the last meeting, I know I touched on it, that it's a complex thing. It's probably not quite feasible in the near future because of the TAO updating the Telex website. Do you know of any sort of timescales that they're working to complete that at all?
Yeah, so yesterday, actually, Amir, do you want to speak really quickly on this? I know Amir joined the Telex Council meet yesterday. You want to provide a little color, Amir? That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, specifically, what did you want me to address? I know it's regarding like the telex updates and stuff, but I just didn't want to talk about something you weren't interested in.
Yeah, the telex updates, but in particular, like the sort of short-term, medium-term status of implementing the new next JS upgrade and everything.
Oh, well, so Khalil has finished all of like the dependency upgrades and stuff like that. He is working with Josh. Josh is another employee of Telcoin to review that code so they can pull it in. Like I said, the code is complete. They're just doing kind of last reviews and stuff before they pull. After that, Khalil will probably pivot to something like multi-chaining telex. There's a few other updates, but most of those are feature-driven versus just like update dependencies. I am hoping to complete the hook aspect of the updates. That's essentially making it compatible with Uniswap v4 pools. That's the direction that the Telex Council wants to go. I'm hoping to have all that done by early next week, at which time we can pivot into or start the next round of audits, as well as finishing up the issuance script. We're moving from kind of the current Telex platform mechanism in which it's doing it on a block to block basis and making it closer to the TAN issuance, where a period will end, a script is run, and then the distributions are done. Khalil is currently in kind of like the fact finding portion to determine his expectations for how long he thinks it'll take. I believe mine will be done ideally before the next telex period concludes, which I want to say is May 5th. So it really kind of depends on when we'll see those things go live. Everything on the blockchain side should be ready, but Khalil has a bigger undertaking than I do. So a lot of it will depend on when he concludes. That's
Awesome
about it.
stuff. Thanks, Amir.
Thank you.
Sounds like a little bit more development work going on. But after that's concluded, I'm sure they can jump in to see what they can do with that. So just very quickly, Mr. Hamilton had a TIP proposal around the Telcoin's coin market cap information. So I posted that in the chat. As far as I'm aware, I've had a conversation with Leo today. We think that's all good and all the information is now up to date. So yeah, I'd say, Mr. Hamilton, I think you're in the chat if you just wanted to confirm on the bottom of your existing forum post whether you think that's complete or not, and then we'll look to go from there in the future if not. But yeah, we think it's all good. Cool. So moving on. So we're on to a very exciting piece next. For the people who were in the last meeting, you'll be aware that we currently have a TIP, which is a media and marketing campaign to support the Telcoin ecosystem awareness. This is basically where we're pursuing assistance from specialized marketing firms via a request for quotation style methodology. And this has given rise to a TEL-IP named RFQ Strategic Marketing and Communications Partner, which has been proposed by Parker. There's a big, long and detailed forum post, which I will post the link for in the chat. It's definitely worth a read through. It's very exciting and interesting. But yeah, basically this RFQ invites qualified marketing agencies to submit proposals for a campaign that's designed to increase visibility, grow participation in the Telcoin ecosystem, and amplify engagement across the Telcoin platform and socials. The proposal basically brings around funding approval from the platform and Treasury councils to support the issuance and execution of the RFQ. It quotes at the minute a maximum contract value of 160,000 USD over 12 months or 40K a quarter to the marketing firm that the platform council deems most suitable for the task based on a couple of metrics. Kind of an outline of the proposal and sort of the stages that we're going to go through. A few have already taken place, but the marketing company replies to the forum post that they'd like to speak, which a few have done already, and then presentations to the global councils at recurring meetings, as we are doing today, which we'll get onto very shortly. What follows after that is basically a proposal in PDF format and a completed pricing template that sort of breaks down different areas and how much it's going to cost basically to implement those different areas, along with sort of a signed letter from someone of authority at the business, and then all those get emailed to the association before the submission deadline, which is the 29th of May, I believe, at the minute, with a 2nd of June vote following that, and then a view to start as a marketing contractor mid-June time, so probably a month from now. So the selected agency that's voted in will report to the platform council and will present their progress to the global council meeting once a month about some of the activities that they've been going on. So super exciting. Yeah, we're very excited that we've actually received interest from 3 very knowledgeable and capable firms, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be able to introduce them today. We're going to give each company a slot of time to introduce themselves, give sort of information about their business, and give us a bit of guidance on what they're thinking of on their proposal and what they think they can offer to us as a community. So we're joined by, I think we've got Scribe and Storm. There is another IBC. I'm not sure if they're able to join.
Okay, so
this.
just to jump in, IBC will be doing it in about 2 weeks' time.
Excellent.
So I had confirmation earlier today.
And I think there's also another in 2 weeks' time as well. So we're eventually going to have 2 today and 2 next week, which is super exciting. So we're going to hear from the 2 today. So we've got from Scribe, we've got JB, and I thought I saw a couple more. Isaiah, Sana, Sam, sorry, and then from Storm, then we've just got Geo ready to present as well. So super exciting. So we're going to start off with JB from Scribe. The floor is yours. Please take it away.
All right, thank you guys. And yeah, from my team, myself, our head of PR, Isaiah Jackson, our head of social, Sana Ali, and Sam Marin, who's a director on the brand and social side of the house. We're going to try to project a deck. We were somewhat able to do that a couple weeks back. Isaiah, I think you might need permissions to do that, you were saying.
Yes. Hey everyone. Parker, would it be possible to give me present access? Because I can't stream into the channel at this point.
Yeah, working on that now. I think I might have just done a second ago. If you want to try.
Yeah, Parker, we could link you the deck. If that's
I've
easier.
got you. No, Isaiah, you want to give it a go now?
Yep. Here we go.
And then, just out of respect for everybody, our fellow agencies as well, how much time would you like to allocate for this? We think we can get through it in about 20-25. We're happy to do Q&A, but it's really what works best for the group that we have here.
I think take the full amount of time you needed to present what you've prepared for us, and we'll appreciate. Look at this. I
think might be on mute as well, unless somebody wants to. I think we lost audio again. And Isaiah, I don't think we can stream.
I think we
Okay.
can still hear. It might have just been Parker cutting out. I think everybody.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I think
Progress.
everybody's all good.
I see that all right, watch stream. Here we go. Can everybody see the deck? Perhaps it's just my computer, but I'm not seeing it on mine.
I cannot see it.
I can see Telcoin strategic comms proposal on
All
the
right.
screen.
That's cool. We
Yeah,
can present it. We can present it blind if everyone else can see it. We sort of know the talk track.
Oh, others in the chat are saying they can't see it.
That's all right.
So
Discord problems.
they said potentially to leave the stage and then come back. It should do a refresh. You've just been given the ability to present.
All right.
Okay.
So
I'll go ahead and. Oh, is this working
Okay.
now? Somehow it looks better from my side.
Yeah, I think people have said it's all good now. So
Okay.
yeah, I think you're all good.
and whatnot. Folks, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us a couple weeks ago, and for the relationship to date. For those of whom we've worked with on the sort of media relations program for Telcoin. We're going to start off with just like a little bit about Scribe. We'll get through that very quickly. For those who were on a couple weeks ago, it'll be somewhat review for you. And then everything else is going to be new and specifically in response to the RFP. So, Isaiah, can we get the Scribe slide with the crypto native customize optimize one?
It looks like that's up.
Awesome. I can't see anything, so it's the pleasure of doing things live, but all good. All right, so at Scribe, we're 2 years old. Every one of the projects that we work with involves blockchain that ranges from projects that are more like Telcoin's profile, all the way up to some, massive 10-year-old multi-billion market cap crypto projects, and then some normie companies, think institutional finance and things of that nature, who now have an interest in Web3 and are integrating blockchains into their operations. In terms of the crypto nativity, we're going to talk about this in a moment, but Telcoin is fairly complex. Just the business operations of Telcoins, the various stakeholders whom you interact with, the different sort of parts of the business. And so we're going to understand that all very well from day one, and obviously the prior experience is helpful. And then beyond that, and this is not a commentary on any of the fellow agencies who are presenting today. This is a blanket statement about marketing in Web3. But as discussed a couple weeks back, we just find Web3 in general to be very lacking in marketing from a quality standpoint, people doing it really well. And a lot of crypto marketing literally looks like a cut and paste job, where companies are showing up, projects are showing up the same way on Twitter, the same way in media, the same way at events. And the purpose of marketing is to distinguish a brand from its peer set in order to build brand equity, in order to build goodwill valuation that literally translates into the balance sheet. And so we're also crypto native enough to understand that sort of see a sameness is what we call it. And how can we get, in this case, Telcoin to show up in a crypto native way that doesn't look like everything else that you see in the world of Web3 marketing and comms? The next bit there is that we are customized. And you will see that, a lot of times, and again, this is not in reference to any of the fellow agencies here, but a lot of times when people get an RFP, they're really approaching it in terms of, okay, you've asked us for specific channel programming, social media, media relations, etc. And we're going to do a little bit of a copy and paste job, and we're going to, show you our Twitter program, how we do Twitter programming, how we do media relations. And we don't do that. And you'll see the stuff that we're going to present, hopefully, if we do it well. You can see that we're not going to be able to present that to whomever we're pitching to next. It is specific and customized to Telcoin. And it fits your situation, hopefully, if we understand it well. And then the last bit is optimization. And so once you get the strategy right and you get the brand right, um, the tactics are actually quite less important. That is to say, let's say that, for example, we decided that Twitter was a great channel for us coming out of the gate. And for whatever reason, the industry moves quickly. Telcoin, discovers that LinkedIn is really the channel it should be on. Like that's a normal thing in marketing. It shouldn't be the death of the program. And you'll see in some of the stuff we'll show you the channels at a certain point, they're interchangeable parts. And if the strategy is good, it's fine if the channels change. Discovering that, Twitter is not the be all and end all and we can just shift it. That again, that's normal. It's not the death of the program or a failure. And so that's just some stuff that differentiates us from the Web3 marketing industry writ large. Can you forward to the logo slide?
Done.
You got it?
Yep.
All right, cool. With this, the only stuff we'll say, and everyone's got cool logo slides. For us, just two things to point out. We're only 2 years old. So these aren't legacy accounts that somebody worked on, 5 years ago and the experience is no longer relevant. These are all current projects, recent projects, or current long-term client remits. And then the other thing I'll say is that at the bottom of the slide, you see a bunch of companies that are earlier stage. Some of them are $3 to $5 million seed rounds, and we work with those folks to help them get to the next level of their development cycles. And then some of the folks on top, those are, the more established multi-billion-dollar market cap companies or projects in some cases. And some of those have 60-person marketing teams internally, and we work with them. Some of the folks who are newer, they have no marketing at all. And we essentially function as their outsourced marketing team. Our goal with each of these engagements, again, to the point of customization, we want to snap in like a puzzle piece. We want to just figure out how we can most effectively bolt on to wherever a project is in its lifespan and whatever its team may or may not be. And we don't want to be a puzzle piece that doesn't fit, that's just sitting on top of the other puzzle pieces. So that's, just sort of how we're coming at the world. If we can go to the next slide, please. Just give me a little visual cue or a thumbs up or something.
You're good.
Awesome. Thank you. These are our areas of expertise. We're versatile. As I said, a channel execution shouldn't make or break it, having to switch from social media to community to media relations to paid advertising. So we operate across these three areas. We're not going to go through them in great detail. I'll say we're also not the Cheesecake Factory. I probably gave the analogy 2 weeks ago, and I know it's a hyper-American one, but the Cheesecake Factory is a chain that started here in America, and they have 3,000 things on their menu, and only one of them is the consensus picked to be really good, and that's the cheesecake, and everything else is kind of superfluous. So in terms of we're versatile. We do these things all really well. And we're not trying to just sell everybody everything. We're going to put something custom together. Ideally, we get your situation and your challenge set, and ideally, what we're discussing from a solution standpoint makes sense. So I will turn it over to my colleague, Sam, who hopefully can see the deck.
Yes. So hey everybody, I'm Sam. I work on the brand side of things, and I wanted to chat through a bit of your situation at hand and some of the opportunities we can see for you guys. But before I get into that, I wanted to just acknowledge that in your RFP, we saw that, of course, there are a lot of channels and very specific things you all are looking for, and we will get to those towards the second half of this presentation. And working on channels, Twitter, media relations, paid ads, whatever that may be. We do that all day. We love doing that stuff. But what we wanted to come to you guys with is a way to really supercharge the work done on those channels and make them just stand out so much more and be a lot stronger. And the way that we would do that is through your brand. And when we talk about brand, we're talking about a lot more than just your logo, your colors. We're talking about how your brand walks and talks in the world, how it speaks, its verbal identity, how it shows up at events and any IRL interactions, how it talks on Twitter and in the media and on LinkedIn. And your brand is really in kind of an all-encompassing foundation that will make everything on top of it just shine so much stronger. So I'm going to get into, you can go to the next slide, how we're seeing your brand today. And you can go to the blue with the T in the middle. So Telcoin is straddling a lot of different areas. So you guys are caught between, regulation, the blockchain space, and then digital assets and telecoms on the other side. And we know that you have to be a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and that's hard. But we find that if you're trying to be too many different things to too many different people and you don't have that brand foundation, it can start getting really scattered really quickly. And when your brand is scattered, then it can be confusing to people when they're trying to decide between you and a competitor. So you can go to the next slide. So right now we're seeing your brand show up in a lot of different ways, which again, it's hard. It's very hard to show up across, from blockchain to regulation to show up in a consistent way. But on our early preliminary research, we found that this can be just a bit confusing for individuals. And we started looking a bit more into one aspect of your business that I know might not be, the primary or the entire business, but we started looking at remittances a bit. You can go to slide 8. And we found that your competitors, and this is just a sample, there are tons of remittance providers, and as you guys know very well, I'm sure. But on the left side of the screen, you can see the more traditional remittance providers. On the right, you're seeing just a sample of some of the crypto space remittance providers, or at least individuals in the crypto space who use remittances as one piece of their business, like Circle, for example, has a lot of stuff going on. And you can see with these that if you want to win customers and users over these providers, you're going to need to show up in a way that's markedly different and in a way that is going to differentiate yourselves from, the Western Unions of the world, the Stellars of the world. And that's something that, we would love to work with you guys on. And you can next slide as well. Yeah, and just a little bit more on brand and why it matters. I'll turn this over to JB.
Cool. I'll assume we're all looking at Jeff Bezos at this point.
Yeah.
So there's Jeff. And so one other piece, and Sam, you might have said this, I tried to hop on and hop off to see the stream and all that, so whatever. But the remittance example that Sam gave, like that's just one area of your business, right? Where you're competing against a certain stakeholder set. It's going to be so different in terms of when you're looking at it from the proposition of a DAO and the whole governance set and people who want to do what you're doing. It's going to be so different in terms of when you're showing up to regulators. So wherever, and we'll work through this with you, wherever remittances lie in order of importance to the business, we'll do that. And then in all of these other sets, right, how are you competing there? And then on this part, a lot of times we find ourselves, particularly at the beginning of engagements, getting very skeptical questions from our prospects and clients being like, doesn't any of this matter? You can't really measure it. Is marketing real? Etc. And I think in general, we've not done a great job as an industry, that is to say, marketing firms like ourselves, of like really getting to the heart of it and why this matters and how it is quite tangible. So there is an accounting line on corporate balance sheets called goodwill valuation. And goodwill valuation means, and anyone who's done, finance or corporate accounting, investor relations knows this, but goodwill valuation is how do we measure the non-cash elements of a balance sheet, the non-tangible elements of a company. And that comes down to brand. Brand is like the largest, if not sole contributor to goodwill valuation. And so this stuff is on the corporate balance sheets of the coldest, most profit-driven companies in the world, and they understand that brand does translate directly into valuation. The example here is Amazon Whole Foods. I think I did give this one 2 weeks ago, so just bear with me on that if you heard it. But in 2017, when Amazon bought Whole Foods, they paid a 20% premium on that versus what the stock was trading at. They paid $9 billion more than Whole Foods net assets in terms of that 20% premium. And that 20% premium was entirely based on goodwill valuation, the value of the Whole Foods brand that they had created. And so all that to say, I think there's very reasonable questions about measuring marketing, measuring the impact of it, ROI, all of that. But it is real, and people, the most cold-blooded companies in the world, recognize it as an indisputable fact that brand matters. So on the next slide, if you don't mind, you guys should all see Apple. The way that Amazon, Whole Foods, Apple increase the valuation of their brands, which translates into that goodwill column on corporate accounting, it starts with having really effective brand architecture. And the way that this works is Apple, the master brand on top, that's the bank. That is the brand bank. That is the thing that collects all of that goodwill valuation. After 40 years of doing this really well, the Apple brand is valued at about $500 billion. So in other words, if Samsung wanted to buy the Apple brand just to kill it, they would pay $500 billion to do that. And just like the appraisal of real estate, is it $500 billion? Is it 400 billion? You don't know that until a transaction happens, like that Amazon Whole Foods example. But it is incredibly real. And it will be in the hundreds of billions of dollars in terms of what they've built over the last 40 years. They've been able to do that starting with brand architecture. So the way that this works is Apple, by doing really, really good, fundamentally solid brand communications over 40 years, has built that Apple logo right there as a symbol of it into a powerhouse. That Apple logo, when that thing is transferred down onto the individual products, the iPads, the Apple TV Plus streaming, the Apple Store, et cetera, just by virtue of having that Apple logo on a tablet versus another logo, that's increasing the value of that product 20%, 30%, whatever the brand valuation experts say it is, but it is. So that's really key. The parent brand has to transfer that equity down to the product level or the business unit, the divisional level. All of those Apple products, whether, again, it's the Apple TV Plus streaming, whether it is the AirPods, whether it is the tablet, all of them are doing their own product-specific or business-specific marketing. And that is all being done on brand and on strategy in keeping with that big Apple on top, the big Apple master brand. And so every single commercial for every single product, every single event, every time you walk into an Apple store, because they've done this fundamentally well, we call it a brand halo. All of those products are transferring the equity that they're earning back to the Apple logo. And so, and that is what creates that massive valuation that translates into real dollars in terms of Apple stock being what it is today, not just because of what's on the balance sheet, but because of all of this. And Apple's an extreme example. They probably have done this better than anyone in the world. But that's what Sam's talking about, because we could, for Telcoin, we could do video spots, we could do media relations, we could do social media. But if we don't get this stuff right at the beginning, it's going to be a little bit of a leaky bucket in terms of being able to get all of that potential brand equity in the Telcoin bank, the brand bank that is, not the actual bank, but the brand bank. And that's going to be the difference between spending money inefficiently and things that don't ultimately translate up to the master brand and that valuation versus doing them in a way where we can begin right away, fundamentally sound, building that equity from day one. So that is where we would start. Next slide, please. Just give me a verbal cue, Sam. Just be like, it's good. We got the models up there.
You're on it.
Awesome. We're not going to go deep on this, but this is the stuff that the top brands in the world agonize over, and there's a science behind it. We use the same methodology that any of the brands on this page have used. Apple is on the left. It's a house of brands that Apple is on virtually everything. That's what that means. You see that with Google. You see it with FedEx. Google outside of Alphabet, but Google, the consumer-facing brand, FedEx, etc. In the middle is Marriott. That's a hybrid brand. So some of the hotels say Marriott. Some of the hotels that Marriott owns don't say Marriott intentionally. Some of them say Courtyard by Marriott, right? And so that it's sort of a middle ground, and that can make sense. The other is P&G and Diageo. So Diageo used to be Guinness. Back in the day, they rebranded it, but Diageo owns a ton of spirits and wine and beer, etc. And none of them say Diageo. And so even though there are these different types of ways of doing it, these different models, every single company on this list is approaching it with the same purpose. We need a brand architecture that is going to accrue the most value back to the brand to get the highest goodwill valuation, the highest non-cash, non-asset-based premium on the stock, if they're public, or the token, or whatever it might be. And so we have to work through that with you all before, and we can do things concurrently, like we can still, support arms and legs on the socials, etc. While we do this work, but this is foundational, and absent to this, again, it's a leaky bucket, whatever the comms channels might be. So I believe this is the last bit before I hand it back to Sam on audiences. You should see a brand, and you should see some channels on the outside. Cool.
Yep, it's
And
all
so
good.
Thank you, my friend. So this is what we talked about earlier. It's like you get that brand stuff right there. You get the brand bank, you get the architecture properly constructed, and that stuff, it's not like it's complex, but this stuff takes us like a month to be able to work through with you guys, figure out the Telcoin master brand and how that works, figure out for all the different logos and business units and all the complexity that we saw earlier. How do we get that stuff in order so that everything's working as it should? You get that stuff right, it's not the end of the world if you decide, and I don't think we will make the decision, we're about to get into the channels, but you decide social media is not the right place for you to be, not the end of the world. We can rotate that constellation of tactics. We can optimize it, we should be. And that's going to be the difference between doing this successfully in the near term, think 6 to 12 months, and even more so over the long term, right? It's the difference between accruing interest and keeping your money under a mattress, literally. So with that, Sam, I'll get you to audiences.
Yeah, sounds good. So this is showing the 5 audience buckets you all broke down in the RFP. And this is very similar to the kind of work that we would do with you all, where we would define your audience groups. We'd say, okay, we want 30% for this group, 25% for that group. And this is really how we start when we're getting ready to define the channels that we want to do. We say, where do devs hang out? Where do liquidity miners hang out? What are they like? Are we posting on Reddit? Are we posting on X? Are we posting at all? Things like that. So this is something that we would really work with you guys to maybe put a finer point on and say, are these the exact breakdowns that we want to use? Are there any subgroups within these? Like devs, for example, is a pretty large group, and how would we specify that more? So this would lead us into defining your channels, defining your messaging, and I will turn it over to Isaiah to talk about one of the channels.
Thanks, Sam. And this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to speak and do the slides at the same time. So, but with that, I'm Isaiah Jackson. I run the PR program here at Scribe, and now that JB and Sam have kind of gone over the brand architecture and creating the kind of emotional buy-in and resonance with your target stakeholders, now we get to get into the fun part, which is the channels. And with that, what this slide shows here is really a high-level snapshot of our PR program and the avenues that we think might be the most optimal in amplifying the Telcoin brand. While these are going to be a critical component of your program, what we think is actually more important to discuss is actually how we approach this work. So Effective PR programming is really designed to build brand credibility. So how we approach this work is by really targeting the optimal media channels, whether they be print publications, podcasts, broadcast, wherever your audience is moved, we want to target them, right, in the channels that they trust the most. That said, we're going to focus on how we reach that audience through these print publications and broadcast channels. But what we're actually looking to achieve with this program is getting true credibility and reputational equity for the Telcoin brand. So this gives a really high-level snapshot of any typical communications program. What you'll notice here is that for any announcements that are coming from your brand, you'll get these peak moments from a media side, right? Where you have a platform update, that's what we're going to take to media for them to cover, right? So get this splash moment. What you'll notice, though, in this model is that in between those splash moments, you have these deep extended valleys, right? Where your brand is not being seen in the news. So what we need to do is to formulate a plan to keep your brand in the eye of the media, in the eye of the news consistently. So this is what really differentiates Scribe and how we operate within our PR program compared against everybody else, which is we use data and research as the foundation for our work. So whether it's any announcement, any thought leadership portion of the program, which I'll get into, it's all fueled by data and research. While I've worked in this industry for 7 years, actually, which is kind of crazy to say, and many of my colleagues on the PR side have also worked in this industry for the better part of the last 5 years, we don't do the trust me, I'm a doctor game. When we go through any announcement or any piece of thought leadership, we're going to tell you what does good look like based on the research, right? So we're praising everything that we're doing to give you a really accurate snapshot of what constitutes good work, so that you're also learning alongside us as we're doing this work. The next portion of this is really smoothing out those valley moments that I explained in the earlier slide. So one thing that's critical here is that the value that we bring to you should not be relegated to your announcement timeline, right? We've worked in this industry for a long time. We know that partnerships get delayed, updates get delayed, MOUs takes a while for the ink to dry. In that regard, you should still be getting value from whoever your partner is on this, regardless of what your announcement timeline looks like. So our program, through the thought leadership components I'm going to get into, whether it's podcast, broadcast, reactive print media, or the event circuit, your brand should be consistently in the eye of the media, regardless of those peak moments, so that you're getting more of an upward to the right trajectory, as opposed to really extended peaks and really extended valleys. This gives you a snapshot of what that program looks like when performing at its most optimal, right? One thing I'll say is that when we're working with media, right, media are like live animals. You can sometimes wrangle them and get them to move in the same direction. But in reality, what we're doing is giving you the best odds to get the attention from the media and to position you as an expert resource for them to continuously pull from, so that your brand is being consistently quoted and featured within the media, and again, smoothing out those valley moments. So to show you what some examples of this look like when done well, this is some examples of reactive commentary that we've placed on behalf of our clients, right? So these moments here have nothing to do with their announcement calendar. This is purely from us positioning our clients in mainstream outlets as an expert resource who's in the 1% of the general public to speak at a high level about topical industry developments, right? So when done well, this is one aspect of that thought leadership program that keeps your brand always on. Now, if I can play this, this is an example of our broadcast reel, and just shows some examples of how we've gotten our clients onto some of the biggest broadcast outlets as part of that thought leadership program, and again, that credibility curve that we're trying to create. So if I can play this.
Joining me now to talk about this and the influence that SBF's downfall has had on Washington is Ari Redbird. He's the host of Legal Affairs at TRM.
The SEC clearly lost as a matter of law, and the judge wrote, XRP is not a security.
Fred, I mean, you increased your Bitcoin production by 172%. You've been on before and you've had great numbers. Are you just hiring more brilliant coders and people who mine these things? It's incredible.
Our merchants using the stablecoin USDC has been a long time in the planning and really isn't about the market.
We've got Adam Dell with us right now. You certainly know his brother, Michael Dell, but you know, Adam has been a financial rock star in his own right.
I think that blockchains are generally built.
You get the idea. You know, lastly, as part of this program, something that we found to be, or that we believe to be a really effective channel for you all, is really this event circuit, right? As Sam alluded to earlier, we do have a wide demographic of key target audiences and stakeholders. So one aspect of this program that I think is going to be really crucial is to get you connected with these folks IRL, right? So here we've broken out 3 different groupings, whether these are telecoms events, fintech events, or specific events. These are opportunities for you to galvanize that key audience. And again, these are just snapshots of some of the events that might be valuable to you all. The list is probably far more extensive, but just wanted to give you a kind of a holistic picture of what this program will look like when done well, how we get you into the eye of your target stakeholders, and more importantly, into the eye of media to build that credibility. So with that, I'll throw it over to our head of social in Sana Ali.
Hey everyone. Thanks for the intro, Isaiah. I'm not able to see the slides either, but I will try and do my best. So Sam and JB talked a lot about branding at the start of this presentation and the importance of how it extends into other channels. And when we talk about social, we don't just see it as another content channel, we see it as an emotional and very strategic engine for your brand. And on this slide, JB briefly mentioned the sea of sameness earlier. And we're not really calling anyone out here, but this is what crypto at large looks like on social. I'm sure you see it all the time. You could swap out the logos and no one would notice. And that's a problem. Everyone's saying the same thing, and that's not what social is meant to be or was intended for. And then on this slide, these aren't just random posts. They're part of a campaign with a clear and distinct voice. So just comparing it to the other slide. On this one, you can't swap out the brands and get the same vibe. There's a real strategy here. There's two-way engagement, there are consistent themes, and a voice that really stands out, which is always the goal and approach we aim for on social. And on this side, we're just showing you some content that we've produced. We do it in-house. This is just to give you a flavor of what we've done and some of the different pieces we've created. Same idea here. These are some of the motion graphics we've created to show you what else some of our capabilities are in-house. And our designers can do a lot of really, really cool animation stuff. Awesome. And then when we talk about paid programming, it's interesting because a lot of crypto brands don't do paid. Crypto companies who do this aren't competing with anyone, so there's a really big opportunity in the space to do in a really crypto native and targeted way. We've done this for a few brands. We've done this for Cardano, for Blockworks, and a few others. And we've seen that running really, really highly targeted campaigns can reach your exact audience through the right mechanisms. And the opportunity really here is precision, not scale, and we've been able to nail that. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna turn it over to everyone else for a Q&A and see if anyone has any questions. I know we presented a lot, and gonna turn it over to you guys.
Thanks. Yeah, before and yeah, we'll get to the Q&A. Just 30 seconds on it. So just to bring it all back home, The program that we're recommending, it would be starting with that brand architecture, making sure that we have Telcoin and the sub-brands, the business units, if you like, the different parts of the business, like that everything is nice and in alignment and positioned to create brand equity from the channel programming. And for starters, the recommendation would be earned media, it would be social media, and we do think an element of paid, to Sana's point, would be a good mix. And as part of PR, again, it would be the events. We call it pages and stages, but that PR layer is giving you the reach and it's combining it with credibility. It's a lot different when Bloomberg talks about how good you are versus you tweeting about yourselves or people with a vested interest in you, partners, etc., saying how great you are. So that credibility and reach layer is really key, especially when you get into the regulatory environment that you will deal with here in the United States more than many projects will that we work with. And then, the social and paid really giving you the mechanisms to speak on a much more personal, emotional, and psychological level with your target audiences and really bring that element of the brand to life. So that's the overall program, and that's initially where the channels would fit in and why. And again, if we are 3 months down the line and we discover the paid program wasn't as effective as we all thought it would be, that's fine. And we'll cut that thing out and we'll put something else in there, just as one example. So with that, if there's any Q&A, we're happy to take it. And we're also cognizant that we have two peer agencies who will be presenting to you, so we want to be respectful of their time. So thank you, guys.
Awesome, amazing stuff, guys. Yeah, if there's any questions, please do post them in the chat. The chat now. Let's see if we've got any. Yeah, no questions from the stream. We'll give it a few minutes, but yeah, we really appreciate JB, Sana, Sam, and Isaiah coming up here. I know you're struggling through a few technical things and muddling through as a team. So yeah, we really appreciate it. We'll just give.
One question here is, what about the TEL token?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, and so for that, there's going to be specific ways, particularly with the regulatory environment, to literally market the token. So there's that. We would figure out where the TEL token fits within that brand architecture and what should be programming specific to the token as possible. However, what I'll say is that if we're doing this really well, just like the valuation of Apple stock, and I know there's regulatory concerns about saying this in larger groups, but regulatory stuff aside, the token valuation should reflect the brand campaign, and in that the token price should not just be based on the fundamentals and the nuts and bolts of your business. In the same way that Apple's stock price, right, it gets a bump from the brand in that form of goodwill valuation. So that should really be the pull through ultimately, is that there should be that intangible value, the non-asset based value that accrues to the Telcoin token based on this work. More brand visibility, but more meaning behind the brand. So anyone can get visibility. You give us a Twitter account and a paid budget, and we'll get you visibility, as will anyone else. But it is when that brand is showing up, have we done the things necessary to make it meaningful to people emotionally, psychologically? And is that construction, in this case, between the Telcoin master brand, the token, and whatever we do on a business unit brand level, is that stuff all working together so that it's not just visibility, but it's actual impact that drives that valuation? So visibility is, yes, a component of it, but again, anyone can take a billboard out on a major highway and get you visibility. It's really, are we doing the things necessary to make that more impactful and meaningful? Yes, we can absolutely share case studies, no problem, and that can be included in our supplementary materials that we will that we'll get to you all as part of this process.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, thanks guys again for your presentation. Really clear and clean work that you've got. So yeah, we really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
No problem. Awesome. So moving on, I know Geo has been waiting very patiently in the wings for his turn to speak. So yeah, we really appreciate that. I think we've also got, is it Giulio Guilio? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name correctly. But yeah, I'll let these guys from Storm Partners introduce themselves, and yeah, you've got the floor. Gio, not sure if you're talking. We can't hear you at the minute. If you are.
Hi everyone, Julio from Storm Partners. Yeah, I think Gio it's solving his microphone issue. I think we will have him in seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't say you're muted at the minute, Gio. Let's get you back up here.
Oh, I see him not anymore in the. I see him in the audience with his hand raised.
Still sounds like you're having some issues, Gio. Maybe if you wanted to try leaving the call and joining back, see if that fixes things.
Yes, I confirm he has issues with his microphone. So let us just give one more shot.
I'll see if you can fix it. I don't think he's having much luck still. It doesn't sound like he's got it working. Julio, how did you want to proceed? Is it something you can present with just you, or did you
Yeah,
want to
sure.
come
I
back?
can.
You can also always, if you wanted to do it in the next meeting in 2 weeks, you're welcome to do that. But yeah, however you want to proceed.
No, I can start.
Okay.
Okay, no, wait. Yeah, we will join the next time.
Okay, cool. I don't know if you just want to, before you head off, if you wanted to just quickly give just I'm sure you've got stuff to present, but if you want to just give a quick verbal overview of who you are, where you're based, and what some
Yeah,
of your
sure. So we are basically an European team with international clients. We work mostly with like the States, emerging markets, Europe. We are a 3 division team in Storm Partners, and our website is storm.partners, storm.partners. And we have 3 main divisions, which is legal and compliance, strategy and research, and growth and marketing. That which Geo is the head of. Oh, he's back, I think.
I'm not sure if you can hear me yet.
Yes, we can hear you.
You're all good.
Okay. Yeah, I had some issues with Discord. Sorry about that. But what I was saying while I was on mute the whole time was first thanking Scribe for the presentation and also just giving you some heads up that on our side, it's going to take 5, max 10 minutes just to give a quick intro. Today was more just checking in, let the community know we're definitely interested in this RFQ. We've already had a look at it. It's pretty well structured. We see some levers of growth that we can kind of add in there, but it's really just a chance for you all to learn a little bit about Storm. We've been in the crypto space since 2016. The team is really, we have 3 core divisions that we've been working in for those years, and that is strategy and research, legal and compliance, and growth and marketing, which is the department that I'm the director of. So I categorize Storm as a strategy and research firm first. This is really what we lead with. We have a pretty robust legal and compliance department, and by robust meaning that we are, I would say, one of the most well-known legal and compliance teams in crypto. We were really the architects behind one of the biggest token mergers in the space. Our legal partner, Dr. Nicola, he was the architect behind as I said, one of the biggest mergers in the space, the Singularity Net, Ocean Protocol, and Fetch AI unification into ASI, artificial superintelligence. So we, not to throw around any names, we have a bit of a presentation that we can share here that has all of the logos on it, but just want to say that Storm Partners is not difficult to find. You will see in the RFQ that we submit that it's quite robust. The foundation that we build our growth and marketing team on is based on the research from our strategy and research department. That is led by DJ, is still a Marine. So, and I'm saying that to say that he runs an extremely tight operation that goes in depth before any other actions are made, either on the legal side or on the growth side. So I am the benefitor of that research that's done, and that's on top of which I layer my growth and marketing strategy on. DJ, if you go to our LinkedIn page and then look up his profile, you see he has quite a hot take on the way that he speaks about L1s and blockchain and crypto in general, how most of them aren't really set up to drive real tangible business value. But to really get into the growth and marketing segment, which is really what we are here for, as I said, I receive a very robust strategy and research framework on top of which that I do just as deep of a dive into who your personas are, what channels that we're targeting. A lot of the points that were spoken about earlier are really table stakes in marketing. They're really the fundamentals. I mean, we could go into speaking about those if that's what the community would prefer. But on our side, some of the other marketing agencies that are on the call, I think we've also competed with a few of them in the past for other mandates similar to this RFQ, most of which we have won. And that is simply based on our history, right? It's not it's based on the fact that in the space we're well known. We're based in Switzerland. Most of our team is in Europe, although our clients are global. In terms of the advantage that we have on the growth and marketing side and the way that I'm directing it, I come from a technical background in terms of marketing. Since my start at Storm, which hasn't been long, I've built Storm AI, which is really our proprietary. It's a closed LLM model, which is really a team of agents that we've been able to build. And it's, I would say, near impossible to compete with the level of quality and throughput that we can execute on. We have, it's really an impressive system that we have that's fed off of really 5 years of us being in the Web3 and crypto space, multiple, countless case studies that we're happy to share with you all. we have this system that's fed on all of this information, the failures, the successes, all of the learnings that we have, extremely data driven. The Telcoin you'll have your own dashboard that's updated in real time. Happy to present to you on a monthly basis as outlined in the RFQ, but what you will have is a real-time dashboard that you log in and you see exactly what's being executed, what the results of that are, how we pivot, how we change strategy. Another advantage I would say, I think that's relevant, is our managing partner. I think there's a bit of history between Storm and Telcoin as well, but his connections in PR and media are just it's just something that you can only build through time, right? I think the majority of the most widely read publications in our space, they're literally a phone call away. When we sign clients on, sometimes before that first invoice is paid, they're already holding panels, speakers at major events, making introductions. So yeah, it's really a results-driven environment. We super excited about Telcoin. There's a team of fans of Telcoin. So I mean, just yeah, listening to the discussions that Paul has had lately in terms of what Telcoin is going to be doing in terms of being the first regulated bank and turning every ATM into a Bitcoin ATM. So yeah, to say that the team is excited would be putting it lightly. Seen a few questions about how the previous marketing agency would be planning to promote the token. Again, this goes back to our strategy and research team. We have architected, repositioned how a few L1s handle their tokenomics. Also on our team, we have a finance and risk department that is led by Basel. Basel is literally known as one of the crypto accounting experts. The majority of the L1 protocols, L2s, really recent accounts that we've closed, he's consulted them on their tokenomics, how they go to market, their financial models. It's really, our team has really done a good job at placing directors in these core pillars that we're functioning. We've really been able to put a team of experts to hold these pillars up and bring our experience and skills to the benefit of our clients. So yeah, today was really just an intro. Had a few difficulties with Discord, wasn't able to really show my presentation and get on, but I wanted to keep it short. So I wanted to invite you to look into Storm and know that you have really a force that's going to be coming to Telcoin. Definitely, of course, the fundamentals of marketing, as discussed before. Those are table stakes. I won't go into educating you on marketing, but what we do bring is our track record. Measurable, data-driven. You will have a team of AI agents on the org chart that are working for you that I would say are impossible to compete with. And yeah, super excited. We will be back at the next General Assembly, and then yeah, following through the steps on getting our RFQ in front of you. And in the meantime, our team in parallel is super excited, ready to get started. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah, hopefully that was a good intro.
Great stuff. Really appreciate it, Gio. That's a very good overview of what you're about and what your knowledge is of Telcoin and how you think you can contribute to our success. So yeah, we really appreciate you coming up. I can see a few people typing. I'm just going to see if there's any questions that come in at all. No, I think we're all good. But yeah, thanks for coming up again. Yeah, we're really looking forward
Also,
to seeing you
it's
again.
midnight on our side, so we're a bit.
Yeah.
Thanks
for
wanted to
staying
show
up
up
too.
and yeah. No worries.
Awesome.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you again in a fortnight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the space.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. So we're coming to the end. We've got one more piece which wasn't on the original agenda, but Squirtel's come in with a piece, so he's going to take over with a update around exchanges, multi-sig wallets, and a future company partnership.
Okay, so I understand we've been doing this for a little while for this council, so I'll make it nice and brief. So basically, I'd like to provide an update on a few areas. So one concerning exchange discussions, another with multi-sig wallet integration and where we're at with CoinStore side, and basically giving a bit more explanation on some of the delays there, and another one about the evolving listing strategy. So I want to put that to both the council and the community because there's two different avenues. So first off, I will start with the CoinStore wallet integration. So some of you may know already, but CoinStore has been actively reviewing kind of the technical complexities associated with supporting multi-sig wallets. So natively, they do support Polygon wallets. The main issue is Telcoin operates on a multi-sig aspect, which essentially interacts with the contract address. So CoinStore don't allow sending to a contract address. So it's it flags up in their system essentially. And that is purely from more of a safety measure in the sense of any exchange, you will have numerous people sending their tokens to the contact address, and naturally a very large majority of the time those tokens are unrecoverable. So they put in a safety measure saying, oh, it doesn't connect, it doesn't send to contract addresses. So this is where the issue essentially lies. So what we're doing and how we're resolving this is their technical team are evaluating a secure and compliant method to essentially facilitate the transaction to and from the Telcoin multi-sig wallets. Because even though it does touch on the contract address side, it's how Telcoin have implemented their structure of this to showcase that it is secure and it's not actually going to the contract address. Technically, it's going to people's actual wallet addresses. So we are looking at a variety of different ways, and their technical team is essentially looking at ways to safeguard user assets while ensuring that the integrity and security is still there. So this, I don't foresee it being too much longer, and then we can fully open this up. It's unfortunately that is the slowdown and the issue with the exchange, and it was just unfortunate that neither side essentially realized at that time until we had onboarded. So slight hiccup, but everything is being worked out and should be sorted very soon. Moving on.
Great job on that, by the way. That's like, getting it to a place where you can resolve it. Squirtel is really impressive. So good stuff, thanks.
Thank you. So one of the other aspects as well is with the exchange proposal strategy. So I've been getting a lot of community and council interest basically about the upcoming exchange queries and just questions coming at me in conversation of, are we in conversation with, I don't know, insert exchange? In all honesty, you guys know I can't speak about it, but I do believe it's important to clarify and align on how we manage exchange proposals moving forward. So to support the transparency of the Telcoin Association and essentially ensure operational readiness, I'd like to float an idea. There's two different paths for exchange proposal approvals under the Telcoin Association framework. So essentially option one is the pre-approval proposal path. So essentially I prepare the heavily redacted proposals for the exchange, for the proposal on the forum that I am actively in discussions with. So naturally this wouldn't have any of their names, any of the details. It would be, as you've seen with the previous proposals that appear on the forum. These would be submitted to the forum and council for review and the vote on the proposal, which essentially authorizes me to move forward swiftly when the timing is optimal. So by that, it's important to note the pre-approval from the council and that proposal from said exchange, that does not constitute a confirmed listing or confirmed listing date. It simply means the council's given conditional approval of what the deal is, and it allows me to avoid unnecessary delays when key opportunities and the right timing arises. So the benefit of this is essentially accelerates execution from my side by securing upfront governance support. The second option that we could look down for the avenue there is on-demand proposal path. So essentially, proposals are introduced only once the negotiations have finalised, so they've reached those final stages. So again, the highly redacted proposal will appear on the forum, and that would happen essentially when it's ready to be locked down, terms are already negotiated, and we've been given the approval from the council, and then it's signing of documents. So the deliverables are clearly scoped. So while a listing may still be subject to scheduling and the technical readiness on the exchange side, this approach will then ensure kind of maximum clarity at the point of a council review. Again, just for clarity, important to note, this doesn't mean imminent listings. It doesn't mean a listing soon, but it's an agreement. It just means that agreement has been made and it doesn't constitute the length of time for any specific listing. So just to ensure complete clarity there, both of them does not mean, so either option doesn't mean, oh, you're going to get it next week, you're going to get it tomorrow, you're going to get it whenever. There's no set time frame. It just means both strategies offer clear advantages. So one emphasizes a proactive preparedness, and essentially the other prioritizes structured finality. I'd be happy to kind of open up for feedback from both the council and community to see which path would be best aligned. And through that, if needs be, I'm happy to put that into a proposal for slight changes for whichever way we'd like to go. But it just means, one, I can put all the exchanges that I am speaking with in a highly redacted format, ready for voting on. Or the second option is I can do it once everything's been finalized and essentially the agreement is ready to be signed. But it's either or. I'm happy whichever. I just need to ensure that everything is kept in a highly redacted way, and cannot stress enough that it does mean that, or it doesn't mean that a listing is imminent. It doesn't mean there's a set date. Everything, if you know about the exchanges side, is down to scheduling. But yeah, if I could open it up to the council there and community comments, that'd be great, because I'd love to hear your views.
Yeah, so basically option one is you have a highly redacted format that is reviewable by anyone who's signed the NDA with the association.
So option one is essentially, oh, sorry, I think you cut out then. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, go ahead. No, please clarify.
So option one is essentially everyone that I am speaking with currently would have their proposal placed on the forum, the highly redacted version, and they would be then available for the council to vote there and then. This one, so option one gives me the ability to, once certain ones are signed off, whatever one gets agreed to, or whatever numerous proposals get agreed to, then it just gives me the ability to move forward swiftly when the timing is optimal for A, B, C, D, E, whatever proposal it is, instead of having to then wait 2 weeks for a vote, or for the proposal, then the vote, and then. So it just gives me the ability to essentially hit the ground running when the time's right. Option two.
Yeah, I like any option that's going to help you and remove obstacles. And I think we probably all agree, but I don't want to stop you from option two, which may even be better. But
That's fair.
I like the sound of that already. But yeah, option two is.
Option two is more of the essentially it prioritizes structured finality. So you'd only see, it's essentially what is happening now. So you'd only see proposals once they are ready to be signed completely, like signed off, and we've negotiated dates for scheduling and everything like that. Whereas option one is great. So we've got the deal structure. The council are happy to sign that off. And it's when the time is right. If we choose to go for them, then we've got the ability to. I'm seeing option one in the
great. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to empower you, increase transparency without the last part. This is my only question to you is without compromising the objective with any individual exchange who may say to themselves, "Oh, they're disclosing information," but in this case, you're just saying, "Hey, we're interested in them," and are you cool with that, us approaching it, and then we're right? I just want to clarify, and not actually do it the status quo. From your perspective, we would very much appreciate it as boots on the ground is unworkable. So we need to improve it.
So exactly that. So essentially, both of them, option one and option two, don't give any details to the forum side for that proposal. Naturally, it does mean that the council will be able to see all of the details of who we've been speaking to, who've been doing that. But option one essentially goes, these are all the ones we've been speaking to. These are ready to go. It's waiting when the time is right. And then I've got the ability for the ones that are approved to then tick all the boxes and we get it signed and everything can move a lot quicker. So essentially option two is what it currently is. Option one is a faster path. So you're going to get proposals straight away there from like all the proposals I've been working on quicker. So they'll be on the forums in a highly redacted format. And then we can't remove the red tape, blue lights. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, buddy. The red tape is what keeps everything good. Otherwise, they'll turn around and say we can't, and they'll stop dealing with us. I've got to have the red tape. Otherwise, the exchanges are going to stop working with us.
I think he just wants to unleash you, though, and I think that's what we all want to do: is unleash you, give you the transparency that you think is going to help. And I think option one, the only problem with it, and I might just in case I'm reading it wrong, please do correct me. The only one that I could see is that someone then goes and screenshots the proposal and says, "Tell got listed on all these exchanges," and that's just a natural outcome that happens with a lot of stuff. But yeah, you're saying that this would be redacted to that's the only thing I can think.
Yeah, everything would be redacted, and there would be a statement on each proposal that says, even if it's approved by the council, this does not constitute an agreement or a specific listing date or a contract with said exchange, like exchange A or B or whatever. Just that it has been approved from our side there to approach and finalize if we choose to when the time is ready. So yeah, essentially it is just saying it's not a guarantee, but we've been given the approval and we're weighing up the different exchanges and choosing what is strategically the best approach.
And would option one that wouldn't require us to do another vote, like when you said when it comes up and it say we get something through, we both agree on terms and you're ready to move on it, then you can go ahead and move as long as we've approved it ahead of time.
Yeah, so essentially, so anything that goes into that is written onto the proposal is essentially the exchanges that we have ready. We have a proposal from them, and it's ready to be viewed by the council as well. So it just gives essentially one is a finalized and the other. So the best way of describing it is I've been speaking to a few, and I can't unfortunately go into more detail, but I've been speaking to exchanges, and we have bits just waiting on the sidelines until certain time is right, or until I can get the approval, or budgets, or there's a variety of different aspects. So this one, it makes it so I'm able to go, these are the ones, and they're highly redacted. I'll be honest, you probably won't be able to tell the difference between many of them because I'm going to make them all as ambiguous as possible to not give anything away, just for protection measures. So yeah, so it would company 1, company 2, exchange 1, exchange 2. Essentially, that is how it would work. If the only time there would be any adjustment, I would say we could probably, if possible, from Parker's side. So from a business side, if you have any adjustments to a contract, you can do an addendum to a contract, which instead kind of sits with it. I don't foresee any changes, but naturally there will be 1 or 2 that eventually do come up. So that could be a possible avenue as well, that it would be a quick, here is an addendum of this, do we have approval, that would go. And then that would be the only time that it could go to another vote, but I assume we'd probably be able to do that on a quicker format because the initial has passed.
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for anyone else who might have objections, but in regardless, though, I do think that because what you're proposing is different from the status quo, but also the way that we're going to operate moving forward on a day-to-day basis, and that's really what we regulate, right? The day-to-day operational activities pertaining to the sort of global Telcoin platform ecosystem. I think that we should just you should articulate it out, and we just run a TIP from the perspective of clarity, cohesiveness, and everything. And it's showing that over time we're continuously developing this based off of outcomes and trying to improve it for everyone. I think that just goes a long way, and it also would make it, I think, just more clear for everyone, so that we're exactly on the same page on quite literally. So yeah, I would advocate for a TIP for this on that basis. Though I don't necessarily think that by doing, basically you're saying a cohort model of sorts where we've got, X number of exchanges versus one exchange, and trying to just approve all those at the same time. And so I think, yeah, I think a TIP would just be good for a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah, clarity's sake and everything. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, perfect. So from that, I will move on to basically ongoing progress and exchange discussions then. So while there has been some limited communication on this front, that I can say within public, I do want to reassure everyone that exchange conversations are ongoing. For example, I had two separate meetings with different exchanges yesterday, which, yeah, they are continuously. So I can't share names, can't share specifics due to any confidentiality agreements or anything like that, but conversations are continually going. I do just want to ensure that everything essentially remains aligned with our strategic and regulatory goals. So moving on to that, from that, the other area that I've been in discussions with was essentially the one being the budget and the 2 being tier 1 kind of exchange considerations. So I've been in discussions with the teams and councils, and it's been acknowledged that the budget currently for exchange listings wouldn't suffice for a tier 1 exchange. To be completely honest, it doesn't touch it. So which tier 1 exchanges often come with significant liquidity and onboarding costs and everything, which the current budget doesn't allow for. So as such, there is a shared understanding that larger exchange opportunities will be evaluated on case-by-case basis, with the flexibility to explore different funding models or options or additional with strategic collaborations where appropriate. Again, case-by-case basis. So this ensures that we are able to remain agile while maintaining kind of a fiscal responsibility and community trust. So yeah, unfortunately, so that is a blessing essentially. So because that was one of the big hindrances from budget wise. And if I'm moving on, as for the last one, we've had the different agencies approaching and speaking today. We will have IBC, which you guys will know as Marion Norfolk. So it runs one of the biggest talk shows on X. So they have agreed to come on and pitch as well. So this will be happening I'm waiting for the official date, but they've kind of said around 2 weeks, so it should be the next meeting. But once I do get full confirmation, I'll be able to drop that into the chat. And I believe that is everything. So yeah, I just want to prioritize that for exchange listings, everything is based on the best timing, pricing, strategic fit. And I just generally appreciate everyone's trust and support. And I understand it's probably tough to not being able to see the progress behind closed doors, but I do want to stress it is happening. So yeah, thank you again. And I really do appreciate it.
Great stuff, Adam. Yeah, I really appreciate a lot of hard work still happening behind the scenes from you, I'm sure. So yeah, I know everybody really appreciates what you do. So yeah, thank you. Cool. So almost at the end. It's been a bumper meeting. I know I've said a lot of times that this is the longest, but this one might be the longest ever. We're coming up on 2 hours here. But yeah, before we conclude, any questions in the chat? I can see a couple of people typing. Just as another point, yeah, I think Brosy put it a few chats ago, 800 plus viewers on X at the minute, which is pretty incredible. I think we're on 830 I can see at the minute, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, looking forward to continuing to develop that. Cool. Blue lights, when will we have MNOs in the meetings? Who's best placed to give a good answer to this? Parker, did you want to answer that one?
Sure. Yeah. Once they formally publicly announce their validating, then they'll be basically go through the CCIP approval process to submit their proposal for being approved as a validator, and then the compliance council will approve them unless they're not a telecom, in which case they wouldn't approve them. And so yeah, that's how those will come out. It's their business, quite literally, right? And so we want them to do that at the proper timing. But once they do that, I think it's going to be really exciting. Lot of new an entirely new perspective that is building and also validating this shared blockchain network that they are a part of. So I'm really that's the dream, right? So it's going to be very exciting once they're live and announced, and initiated. And I think also in the meantime, we should consider getting some GSMA members to run for office in, maybe even the upcoming liquid delegation. But it definitely in future ones, I think we're at this stage of maturity for the association where it's quite professional org now that's now coming into its fully operational technological state, and in addition to its fully operational and self-organized governance system. And so it's in time basically is the answer, and it won't come from me, right?
No, we're very excited to see who announces it themselves. A little bit of a spoiler from Grant in the chat that you could be seeing a few people in the pretty near future. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Cool. So I don't think there's any more questions. So we'll look to wrap that up.
Just a quick one. There has been one from X. When will the GMRT token or other partners be available on the Telcoin app from the exchange side?
Yeah, I definitely can't speak to. I definitely can't speak to any particulars on that. That will be announced by Telcoin Holdings through the proper channels at the proper time. And yeah, it really is. It just isn't an area that I could ever publicly comment on the future listings on the Telcoin app. But
I think GMRT is on base though, isn't it? So I'm not sure how.
Yeah. Just another one on that. Is there any documentation for if people wish to list a token on the Telcoin platform? So I speak to a variety of Web3 and gaming and.
Yeah, I would just email like hello if you have particular tokens or product requests. I would email them to hello@telco.in, and then that your voice will be heard on that. You can imagine that we're a compliance first company in everything that we do, and that kind of goes without saying that beyond that mechanism, or reaching out to our DMs on X to the Telcoin customer support to say, hey, we want XYZ token on the app. It's just like not my area.
Awesome. So I don't think we've got any more questions now. I think we're in a position to wrap up for today. So just to confirm our next few meetings, we've got May 29th, June 12th, and June 26th, I believe. So yeah, looking forward to those. Just a reminder, these meetings are crucial for maintaining transparency and communication with our community. So nope, don't think there's any final questions. Thanks all for coming. Everyone on X and here in Discord, we'll see you for the next one on the 29th.
Great job, Coops. Later.